everyone, today I'm reviewing the new Himalayan, the 2023 model. From the previous years, Royal Enfield has made quite a lot of changes to this bike, and today I'm going to show you what those changes are, what Royal Enfield improved, because there are quite a lot of improvements. But before I start, I want to mention something very special about this bike, and what is special about it is the fact that it's mine. I finally bought a Royal Enfield Himalayan. If you watch my channel, I always talk about this bike in all my videos and how good it is and how easy it is to drive. Well, I always wanted one and I finally bought one. This bike is quite updated from the previous ones, and if you remember, on this channel a few years ago I tested the same bike, the same Royal Enfield Himalayan, but it was the first production of the Euro 5 model. It was a 2021 model. But since then, Royal Enfield updated this bike quite a lot, and there are about 6 or 7 changes to the bike. So let's start and discuss and see what's changed on this year's model. Okay guys, so first, one of the biggest changes of the bike that I observed myself, it's on the cluster, and it's related to the gear indicator. On the previous models, the gear indicator was shown here near the odometer, and it was showing 1 for the first gear, 0 for neutral, and 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the other gears. Now, on this year's model, it has changed. It's no longer showing here, and it's actually moved to the compass side. Yeah, in the previous model, you will see a compass here. Now it's showing the gear indicator, and it says G1 for first gear. It shows an N for neutral, and G2, G3, G4, G5 for the other gears. And myself, I would say that showing N instead of 0, it's a much better addition to the previously models. The next change of the Himalayan of this 2023 model, it's the windscreen. The windscreen, it's a little bit taller and a little bit wider. It's bigger than the previous models. I would say it's a nice addition because it looks better. I would say it makes the bike more serious, more tough looking. Third change that I observed on this model, it's these bars over here. Previously they were bigger and they were not so round around here. Now for this year's model they made them a little bit smaller, and also they changed this plate over here. The design of the plate is changed and the material of the plate is changed. But if you ask me, it's looking a little bit more polished, and it's also an improvement on the aesthetic side of things. So a good improvement from Royal Enfield on this year's model. Now let's talk about the fourth change that I observed on this year's model, and that is they added a USB socket. Yeah, you heard me right. The Himalayan has USB charging port. When you look it, you won't see it because I had to read the owner's manual to find it because I didn't know it existed. It is very hidden. So it is hidden here under the clutch lever, and you have to actually pull these cables around to see it. You have an USB charging port here. You open this cap and it is revealed. It is very hidden and you have to search it a little bit to find it. Like I said, I had to read the owner's manual to find out that it actually exists. From my point of view, I would say this is a very important addition to the bike because in today's times, everybody uses a smartphone as a GPS device and you have to charge it while you ride it. And this additional USB port, I think it is very good and it is a necessity in today's times. Going up to number 5. This is one of the biggest changes of this bike. What they changed in this year's model, they did a big change on the engine. They remake the intake of the engine. We have a new throttle body, we have a new ECU, we have new injectors. This was done to solve one of the previous models' issue, especially Euro 4 and Euro 3. All these bikes will have issues when they were cold. When the engine was cold, they will stall. The engine would die on you. To solve this issue, Royal Enfield changed up everything on the intake side of things. And we also have a new ECU, which is smarter. It has quite a lot of new functionalities to it. You cannot trick it with swapping out sensors to gain more power and things like that. It will immediately show up a check engine light over here. So the ECU is changed, it's smarter. We have a new throttle body, we have a new intake system, a new injector, and this adds up also some additional power. The bike doesn't have any more 24 horsepower, it has 25. I know it's not a lot, but it's about 4% increase in power. So I would say that's a really good job from Royal Enfield, and it's one of the changes that I love the most because it changed the whole characteristic of the engine. It runs much more smoothly and much better. And I also had the chance in the previous days to test it in 0-degree temperature, and the engine didn't stall on me once. So yes, I would say this really improved the bike quite a lot. Okay, so we arrive at change number 6. And for change number 6, we talk about the side stand. Royal Enfield changed this side stand quite a lot in the previous years because first it was too short and the bike will fall over, then it was too tall and it will fall over on the other side. And now they finally learned how to cut in half and we have a good side stand that's the perfect size for this bike. It took them almost 10 years, but they finally did it and it's a good size stand. So yeah, good job Royal Enfield on this one as well. And now that we finished with the side stand, we move on to change number 7 of this bike, and that is the tail light. The tail light changed from a bulb one to a LED one. So now, as you can see, we have here about 8 LEDs that lights up the tail light, and it looks amazing compared to the normal one that has a light bulb. So again, good change Royal Enfield. Thank you very much for adding LED lights on the back. We wait for LED lights on the front as well because it is 2023, so yeah, let's hope maybe next year they'll add up LED lights on the front. Good guys, so we arrive at the last change for today. The last change for today that I'm going to talk about on this year's model, it's the carbon canister. On the previous models, it was situated here on the bash plate, between the bash plate and the engine. And this was a problem because the hoses that were leading to the carbon canister, they will breathe up and crackle and you will get a vacuum leak. And because of that, the engine will not run good. Royal Enfield found out about it and they changed the whole system, and now this issue is fixed. And since I'm talking about the fueling system, I want to mention also the fuel pump relay that was an issue, especially on the Euro 5 models. Previously, when they launched the first Euro 5 models, the fuel pump relays will burn up. This was a known issue, and since then they upgraded the relays, and especially on this year's model, you will not get that issue. So that would be, I would say, improvement number 9. But who can count anymore, because they've made up so many improvements on this bike. And I would say this is a very good bike, and I'm not saying that only because it's mine and I like it. It's my bike, I finally got it, I'm proud of it, but they've actually improved their bike quite a lot. Also, quite a lot of things stay the same. We have the same 21-inch front wheel, the same 17-inch wheel on the back, the same suspension, the same ground clearance, pretty much everything stayed the same. The same crappy front brakes. They are like 2 plies of wood. But yeah, it is part of the Royal Enfield Himalayan character, I would say. So there are quite a few things that stay the same, but also quite a lot of improvements. So this is what's new on this year's model. Now I'm gonna go and ride it a little bit around. I'm gonna have some fun. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. We hear each other next time. Bye.
We're still in the moonlight, it's something sweet. Let it wash over all of me. With you I form my company, forever close to the unknown. There's no doubts and no regret.